Start recording. All right, I will call this meeting of the Summit Waller Community Association Board to order for Tuesday, October 5. First item on the agenda, the approval of our meeting minutes from September. Any comments regarding the meeting minutes? Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved. Second.
So it's been moved and seconded that we accept the meeting minutes from our September meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is Dawn abstaining?
No, I'm just not voting because I wasn't at the meeting.
Oh, okay. So motion passes. Now, September Treasurer's Report. Mr. Reed.
Yes, sir. I got a couple to go over. If we want to go back to August, we had a little bit of activity there. I received a check from the Amara place just right down the road, and I mistook it for a donation, but it was actually meant to go to the Summit Waller or the Summit Water place. So I did verify that I received that, and I refunded them. And then I made the Mid-County Community Center donation of $600. And that's all the activity that I had to report for August. And then September, we received some membership dues in the amount of $50.
Okay. And there were some questions in the emails about membership. What I decided to do is add that as a new business item farther down. So we'll cover that a little bit later.
Great.
All right. And the webmaster report.
Okay, so we've been recently talking about all the different things about maybe making the website more of a static thing versus that's where everybody goes for their current up-to-date hot news. Is this the time you want me to go over that, or you want me to go over that later on?
We can cover that later
Okay.
under current business, unless you have any kind of statistical thing that you want to report back on.
The only thing I would like to show you is the metrics for both the website and the Facebook page real quick.
Mhm.
All right, so what we're looking at here is the built-in report that we get through our web host, the different functions here. Zoom it over. Okay, so this is our typical sessions per month. It's a 247 average. It's about held the same. Page views, that's about how many pages people of those sessions went and visited. The average duration is less than a minute per visitor. The up and down, it varies. And then the bounce rate, which is somebody shows up and then instantly leaves for whatever reason, they don't actually stick around. That's about 68% of visitors. So as we can see, we don't have a ton of people coming to the website. However, let me switch over to the Facebook group. We have a lot more. So we have a total of 1,436 total members there. Out of those, 1,343 are active during the course of the last 28 days. That's a huge participant level for the amount of people we have. And as you can see, just in single days, we're seeing more in single day numbers than we do on the website for the entire month. So that's just something for us to keep in mind. I mean, heck, the 19th, that was almost 4 times the amount. So we just need to make sure we put our efforts towards the resource that makes sense and that we could do more with. But otherwise, that is all I have to say for that. Everything else is pretty much stay the same with websites.
Gabe, I have a quick question for you about the website. Since I haven't accessed it on my phone lately, do we have a mobile version too?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that was in the redesign. I did it to where it worked on mobile, tablets, and web browsers.
okay.
All right. Well, now on to current business. I think what I'll do, since we have Councilmember Campbell here with us, I will respect his time and move him up to the beginning of current business. Is there something you wanted to share with us? Marty?
He may be muted.
I don't know. Well, he doesn't show muted on my screen.
Hmm.
Maybe he had to step away for a moment. Okay, well, in the meantime, Orange Gate Park, there are 21 hours volunteered in August. I know that I went out with Larry for a brief period and we took care of cleaning up an area where a big tree had come down and blocked one entrance trail and also kind of left a mess blocking the through trail. And we got it all cleaned up and ready to go, swamped out, so that a couple of days later, a person from the Parks Department I know came out and took care of the rest of the log with chainsaw and got that opened. Anything else you want to add, Larry?
Yeah, I'll add that, we had 21 hours of volunteer work during the course of the month of September, not August.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I need to change that.
And I would like to point out that most of the time is dealt with picking up garbage, but there is trail monitoring. There are some trails that I have to go into on a regular basis, and so does the Pierce County Parks people, to check for illicit and illegal activities that might occur there. Other than that, the park is in pretty good shape at the moment. There are people out there on their own picking up garbage that they see along the trail. Periodically, I see small bags put near the intersection of 46th and 84th. We did get a really big illegal dumping Friday night to Saturday morning, where Pipeline Road crosses 84th, and there's been other dumpings that night along 84th, farther west, and also on 80th Street, just east of Vickery. So this weekend the community got hit pretty hard near Orange Gate Park. I'm not sure who's going to be picking up that big dump where Pipeline Road crosses 84th. I think that it's maybe more the responsibility of Tacoma Water. Tomorrow, I'm going to give them a call and tell them that they need to have that picked up. I'm not sure whether they work with the county on stuff that's dumped on there right away or not, but I'll give them a call tomorrow.
Okay,
Other than that, that's it.
all right, thank you.
Thanks for your work, Larry.
Welcome.
And earlier today, the county council approved adoption of the master plans for Orange Gate and for Half Dollar Park. And once again, Marty, are you with us? Huh. I'm hoping he can hear us if he's hooked in. Or possibly he could let us know in the comments in the chat if he's having problems with connecting. Okay, so on to the website, purpose, goals, and content. And Gabe, do you want to address that?
Yeah, it's based off the numbers we saw earlier. The participation is so much more at the Facebook group, and I appreciate those of you that have made the effort to come into the Facebook group and participate as well. It's really nice to hear the chorus of voices I keep referring to. And I think people actually feel more engaged and they get to know who we are. The website, we haven't had a whole lot of updates. I'm a little bit hesitant to just be a parrot for already out there newsletters. So I'm a little bit on the pause side on that one, unless it's a big thing that needs to be a static thing that's going to last for a while. So a reference, like a directory that we already have on there might make sense. Yeah, so he's coming back.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. And so the other one was just the questions. Any questions that we have on the website or anything that somebody might be wondering about or have an idea about for, I mean, I'm open to suggestions. Right now it's static website. That's not, nothing wrong with that either. It's just,
I think that during the last meeting, Gabe, you brought up, we broached this issue, and it's a good point, it's a good reminder for me as a frequent poster of content in the Facebook group to, if there is a resource that we want people to link back to our website, to include that link in there. Oftentimes people are like, what's the phone number that I should call for this? What's the phone number that I should call for that? Who are these people? What's this group? Do I have a neighborhood watch in my neighborhood? And so we have all that on our website. So it's just a good reminder for me to make sure that we're including those links. And I see that sometimes you add that. If I respond with, oh yeah, go to this website, and you're like, actually it's on our website. I'm like, oh, dang it, I totally forgot about that. So I'll have to be more
well,
cautious
I happen to know
conscious of doing that.
everything's on the website, so I know what's there. So
Yeah.
yeah, because I actually typed it out or copied pasted
Right.
it in.
And I
So-
know that it's there,
Yeah.
but I just sometimes have a hard time finding it. I have to search through a couple of the tabs before I can find stuff.
Yeah,
And so,
and if anybody has a suggestion on how to improve the navigation of those and the menus for navigating the website, please let me know. I'm really happy to change them if it makes more sense in the way. I think that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Just my own comment. Earlier today, I was thinking about the website versus Facebook page. And to me, as a librarian, the website is sort of a ready reference place where we have a lot of information that is kind of archived that people can go to whenever they need that answer for things like the phone number, or if they want to know about the history of the place. Facebook is naturally going to have more engagement because that's where discussion's going on. The website is not a place for discussion, so.
And I think, was it Dan that was going to give me some sort of history thing about something? Or was it Larry? One of the two of you was talking about they're writing up something to put up there for more of the history parts of the page of the site. And I think it was the Bird Road.
Oh, or Bird Mill Road, or
Bird Mill,
was that, or was that done?
Not sure, but one of you were.
Oh,
talking
no,
about
it
that.
was Dan.
Yeah.
Dan, the history fan.
History of what?
Bird Mill Road?
Oh, that was me.
I walked on it once.
Okay,
That was Larry.
Bob, that was me.
okay. That
So,
was
yeah.
Larry.
Yeah, type it up and send it to me, and we'll massage it into web format and put it up for you, so we can add some more interesting content about the history.
Okay.
All right, thank
I have
you.
a real quick comment, just an observation. I'm not a Facebook person, but I think the website, like Bob said, is kind of a repository for information. I would just think that people who are looking at the Facebook, we could occasionally reference on Facebook. If you want to see more about this or this or this issue, go to our website. We have about the Tom Ballard report. We have about the land use planning in Pierce County. We have a lot of information on the website. And I think maybe the Facebook could occasionally point people to the website.
yeah, that's what Gabe and I have been trying to do. And recently there was somebody that was asking about like the old Waller Road Grange and the old school there, and somebody had a question about it. I said, actually, that's on our website, and I knew exactly where it was, and I pointed him to it because it's in one of the like a history report that we've got on our website. What's that?
That's the old
Parts of
school.
Waller Road.
Yes.
And thank you for your work on the Facebook, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Seriously.
There's times when I want to completely just unplug and say, you're all on your own. May the force be with you. And then I realize somebody's got to moderate people's comments, and
Yeah, well,
which Gabe and I are good at doing. Or if people are swearing and getting out of control, it's getting too political, too hot, we just turn the commenting off and let people diffuse and
yeah,
answer their questions as best we can. So
don't watch the public comment time of public meetings. And with that, I will turn it over to Councilmember Campbell. Welcome.
Hello, I'm back. Sorry about my technology issue there. I could hear you guys and I was like trying to get on there. So didn't have a whole lot specific. We wrapped up kind of early today, so I was able to make it over here tonight and wanted to pop in and say hello and see how everything's going. Angela, thank you for your brilliant moderation. I do observe it from time to time, and it's well done, and my hat's off to you. Kudos. We're beginning our budget process. So with that process, the executive got us his budget last week, about 10 days ago or so. I have the book pretty well marked up. I'll be reading it as I go to bed again tonight, which creates for some really strong, interesting dreams at night after you've been reading the budget all day. But we begin this Thursday, really the council portion of us kind of walking through it together, asking questions about, why this, why that is proposed. Can we do it this way or that way? And then we take what the executive did, we fix it so that it actually works right. And then we should get that passed by mid-November. So we're pretty much just going to take about the next month and really chew through it over a few Thursdays and Fridays. With that, the only other thing I can think that's really kind of Summit Waller related is we just passed out of committee. We still need to do some final on it, is a development agreement with Strino Farms to ensure that they can continue to operate the way that they are going forward, finding a way to memorialize what they do and provide a process for keeping businesses like theirs going. Because I think when we see what Strino does, what Watson's does, I think those are valuable businesses. And some people say, well, you shouldn't have a business down there. Maybe not. But sometimes you can get a unique business, and those are businesses that define us as unique places. And so how do we support unique businesses that make us a great place to live without just opening up? Because if it was 20 of those along there, then it wouldn't be unique and it wouldn't be the same. So that's kind of a balance that we work on. Strinos have carved themselves out an interesting little niche down there. And so we're working forward with them. We definitely, I like the mix we have. I don't want to see any go away. So Pika Farms or any of them, I think it really creates a great place. And when any of us can do a 10-minute drive and have fruit that was picked a few hours ago, that's always a good thing in your communities. So I'll just
Council meeting last Thursday?
What's that?
Any comments on the council meeting last Thursday?
Oh, yes. That was the other part I'd written down. Thank you guys very much. Good to see so many of you come out to the in-district council meeting we had last Thursday at Harvard Elementary. Glad to, was always happy to go to Harvard. So many jokes there. But, and the first time we did a bilingual one, English and Spanish, I got a lot of kudos on that from a lot of people in the community, and just a lot of people just saying, thank you for just, reaching out and doing something a little different, and just showing communities that, we can be open, we can still get business done while providing ourselves to be more open and more accessible. So, and yeah, the translator was fantastic. She was amazing. She was more, and as I was going to joke, it was the first time we've been to a in-district council meeting where politicians didn't do the most amount of talking. Because the poor translator had to do double duty there, but she did a wonderful job. So
yes, she did.
Thank you all for coming up. And we got to learn a little bit about Larry's contributions to the farm, and thank you. And I guess I hadn't put all that together, so thank you. That the farm really is something special in our community, and it was good to highlight it, but then to see how much it's been part of who we are and how it's become that. So Angela.
Thank you. Good, quick question for you. What prompted the discussions about the Strino farm and those kind of unique businesses? Is that in response to some community plan updates? Is it Canyon Road project? Is it something else?
Pretty much
Just curious.
Canyon Road project.
Okay.
I think if there was one, because one of the first iterations had them cutting their parking lot in half. And they were like, whoa, 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 whoa. Well, what are we gonna do? You know, and they came back and said, well, you know, your retail building was only not supposed to be quite that big. You built it bigger than you were supposed to, you know, and that kind of became this whole, and, you know, because they were kind of out in the middle of nowhere doing what they were doing and having success and adding to the community. So
Yeah.
how do we acknowledge it's, you know, yeah, they did some things they probably shouldn't have, but they did
Yeah.
good things.
Yeah.
Governance, that's a really hard thing.
And then, oh, go ahead. I was going to say, I also know that with the Agricultural Advisory Committee and that interaction with the Canyon Road Project team, there's been a lot of really good, you know, in the weeds discussions about establishing an agricultural district and acknowledging that with some signage. So I know that that's one of the things is coming out. And I think Letitia talked about that last month, wishes she gave us an update on the Canyon Road project and gave us a couple of examples of things that we'd actually see on the landscape that were going to be changing. And that was one of them. So, I mean, I think it's, yeah, it'd be nice to have our own kind of Pierce County agricultural, you know, like designated area. I think it'd be really, really special.
And I think we're kind of working on that. You remind me, I just saw something come in my email that I'll see if I can find it, that actually has like the proposed signage and sign locations for some of our ag signs. Oh, that wasn't the right button. But while I look for that, carry on a moment with any other questions?
Yeah, Councilman Campbell, Larry Vollen. I was kind of a fly on the wall to part of the Pierce County Council meeting this afternoon when you dealt with a couple of park plans. I already know the answer to my question, but maybe others on the board do not. How did the Orange Gate Park and the $50 Park master plans turn out with the council?
Both of them passed unanimously with no public comment in opposition to either one. So pretty, there wasn't public comment in support either. They just kind of came and went, which was good, which tells me the process, because we heard you guys during the process. We heard you guys during the committee meeting. Yeah, I think we worked out any concerns that came up to really put together a good plan moving forward for Orange Gate in particular, and $50, and the two will eventually be connected by the pipeline trail. So, and our views across the community.
Yeah, in texting back and forth with Bob Koresh, wondering why I even brought up the $50 park, and it is connected to the pipeline trail, which goes through Orange Gate Park. But there are people on the eastern edge of the Summit Wall area that actually are closer to the $50 Park trailhead, the future $50 Park trailhead, than they are to Orange Gate trailhead. And also there are people who live right in that area of $50 Park that have supported our efforts in Orange Gate Park. So we should be
They're
interested.
two good parks. They both serve the mid-county area here very well. I live close to the Swan Creek Park, but I ride my bike out to Orange Gate all the time. So and once that's all completed, I'll ride it out to $50. So it's all part of a network, and so glad to see them both moving forward together.
I know that Councilman Zeiger was really enthused about the plan for $50 Park.
Yeah, I think he doesn't. I think he lives pretty close to there. I don't know exactly where he lives, but I think it's in that area. So,
yeah.
But and that falls within his district. I do know that. So it's outside my district line, in his district line. That's why I was sponsoring the Orange Gate, and he was the $50.
And talking about other districts, if you could briefly go over what's happening with the process for redoing the boundaries for the council districts.
Yes.
I heard you on Evelyn's podcast last week, but for the rest of the group here.
So every 10 years, Pierce County has to go through a redistricting realignment process that has where we take the population changes, look at the individual districts, and then we say, you know, we want all the districts to be approximately the same size. And so that means some boundaries got to move around. Right now, the council selected 4 members to compose the committee, 2 from the Republican side, 2 from the Democratic side. Then they get together and select a 5th person who's a chair. And then the 5 of them select a districting master, which is one that draws new maps. Like, we could do this or we could do that. You know, here's the changes. Here's how we keep that together. I'll come back and touch on that in a second. Tonight's meeting, just before here, they did actually select retired Judge Frank Koplerson as their 5th member. And he's helped lead the county in several processes. So I think he makes a good nonpartisan, neutral 5th person as we go searching for redistricting things. What we know is when we look at the districts themselves, we see that the eastern side of the county has been growing faster than the western side. It's not going to surprise us. To Holly, Frederickson, Graham, what we're seeing out there. And so you've got your districts out there, 1, 2, and 3, they kind of need to shrink up a little bit. So like District 3 has 8,000 more population than District 5. So District 3 needs to shrink up a little bit. District 5 needs to gain about 2,000 people. What's really going to be more interesting is that District 7 has to grow by quite a bit, and it's out on the peninsula, so it can't go that direction. So it's going to move inward, which could push some stuff. None of the numbers are tremendously large. And so you might see, like, instead of going to 151st, I might go down to 162nd. And I think, so you might see some adjustments. I don't see where we would see a different district with the Summit Waller area because it's pretty much the center of District 5. And so even if you shift one way, plus there's you want to keep cities as together as you can. So they don't want to have 2 representatives for Puyallup. Tacoma, you have to split up because of its size, but all the other cities you pretty well can keep intact and just keep 1 representative. So being up against Puyallup on that side creates it so you can't shift a whole lot. So unless there's like a radical redraw of the map that does something, you know, to where none of the districts look anything like they did before, I'm not anticipating more than a few boundary line shifts. So
Thank you.
hopefully it is very much my hope that I continue to represent the Summit Waller community. But we'll know that process near the end of the year. So that's when we'll know.
Any other questions for a council member? Okay, well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
What else? I didn't catch. I haven't had a chance to see what else is on your agenda tonight.
The next item on the agenda is possibly requesting an ordinance for a flashing light at 84th and
Okay.
Vickery, or well, Larry, you can
Bob,
explain it better.
Bob, I have a point of order.
Okay,
I don't think we approved the treasurer's report for August and September formally. We should probably do that.
oh, we didn't. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, and so I so move.
I'll
Do we have a second?
second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the treasurer's report for September. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so it passes. And now, Larry, if you'd like to speak to your proposal for Vickery.
Well, since we've had some issues at especially 96th and Vickery over the years. As you know, there's a hump in the roadway just east of that, and people come flying over that hump westbound and get into accidents at 96 and Vickery with people going north and south on Vickery. And a lot of, there's been a lot of accidents at night where people get out of their cars, curse and swear, and then they drive off. So there's been a lot of unreported accidents there. And of course, there's been accidents at 84th and Vickery. And we're always concerned about 104th and Vickery. There used to be some signage at 104th and Vickery that said cross traffic does not stop. Those were eventually taken down. We requested similar signage when the signs were up at 104th at 96th and Vickery. That was denied. Some private citizens went out and actually had signage exactly like the ones that are at 100 that were at 104th and Vickery, put those up, and of course the county took those down because they weren't authorized. And then Don Brunson had to go out to the road shop and retrieve them. So I know that the county traffic department, if they were to provide those signages at those three intersections, 84th, 96th, and 104th, that then other people in the county would request them too. So, and the neighborhood watch people feel very strongly about these kind of signage, especially at 96th and Vickery. And I know that other members of the board are concerned about 84th and Vickery. There's more traffic going on Vickery all the time. And so I put together an ordinance proposal for cross traffic does not stop at those three intersections, because our requests for that have been denied by the traffic department. So I figured that an ordinance would, well, for no other practical word, do an end run around their objections. Because once you pass an ordinance, then traffic has to put those signs up. And the explanation to others who would like to have similar signs was, go ahead and write up your ordinance and maybe it'll pass and maybe it won't. So I was proposing to this board that the Sumwaller Community Association put forth this ordinance proposal to our Councilman Marty Campbell. Well, and then Angela came up with a slightly different approach with a letter, and I like it. I like it a lot because it does ask for a possible ordinance, but at the same time, I think it's very diplomatically written, and I'm and Angela does a good job of taking our radical ideas and putting them into more diplomatic formats. So I would be in favor of her letter. I don't know if we want to attach to it the ordinance proposal, because I had all the whereases,
Yeah.
I see them. I had all the whereases to go along with exactly what we wanted. So I don't know if we want to do both or just Angela's letter. That's up for discussion and decision by our board.
Marty, you have a question?
Well, a little bit more comment. First of all,
Okay.
thank you for bringing this forward. For adjustments to it, I would add 72nd also. I'd do the whole corridor, and 72nd has definitely been an area that's had issues. And since I've come on board in the last year, I mean, nationally, speeding and accidents are way up since the pandemic. And so it's not just our community, but we've seen more than our share of dramatic accidents in our area. And so I've asked the sheriff to do additional speeding patrols. It will be a big thing in the budget for me to fully, to fund up traffic units and get more emphasis on that. I did when I first came on board, and I think you all know this, I had them go out and redo the Vickery corridor, put up the largest possible stop sign they could, make sure there was a stop ahead sign, put the red stripe on every sign so that, and anecdotally, and I think data will show that the amount of accidents dropped at those intersections, particularly when you consider the overall increase that we've seen. It certainly has not increased at the same level as others. Happy to receive the ordinance. First thing we'll want to do is the study of the corridor again, but it's been a couple of years, traffic's flowing again as it was before. So I think that's something we could look at. And some of you may have, if you've driven down the 72nd Street down to Canyon to Pioneer, you've seen the additional signage we've, that was some request that was outreach that, that's kind of a dangerous hill. And so we really, more than doubled the amount of signage on there. I believe in signage as a way, so I'm happy to look at an ordinance and maybe not as much saying I'll take a look at it. It may not be as much as the wheres as we put it, but more clearly define the when to put it in under these circumstances. So either way, I'm happy to run it up and cover, even if we want to do both, Vickery and 44th, or, look at some of the corridors. Are there other similar issues throughout the corridors? Canyon's getting pretty well taken care of on its own, but and the more we can get a broad base, I think Golden Given could probably use some of the same things too, but that's another area. So I might loop some more in on that, but yeah, bring it forward. I do appreciate it.
Bob, can I make a comment, please?
Yeah.
Just to underscore all this, it wasn't mentioned that on these various roads on Vickery, there have been fatalities. We're not talking about those little fender benders. On most of these intersections on Vickery, there have been fatalities, some very recently. I personally was T-boned at Vickery at 72nd Street. $10,000 to my truck. So yeah, it needs to be taken care of. These fatalities on Vickery, they happen and they can happen again. And what Larry said about the hill coming off 96, that's a serious problem. Vickery is being used more and more because of just the flow of traffic wanting to flow north. And we are the northern point of all that traffic flow. So we get more of a concentration of people wanting to go down Waller, Vickery, Woodland, Canyon. So yeah, I would underscore all that.
Pioneer has been particularly, I think we had in a 3 fatalities on Pioneer, 3 or 4 fatalities in a 3-week period. So very unrelated, all for very different reasons. One is semi lost its brakes, another one kid going too fast for conditions, another one drunk driving. I mean, there wasn't one thing you could look at and say, hey, if we did this, it would have changed the 3 of them. And that's what's frustrating, is they were 3 very different, and they were 3 things where the individual drivers screwed up. And how do we stop people from screwing up? But that being said, I'm like I said, I'm a big believer in signage and engineering to really, if you can slow down, if there's 4 cars going, you can slow down the first one, you've slowed down 4 cars. So as much as we can do to engineer just people slow down a little bit, and that's great. But I see, Angela, you have your hand up and you're being polite. So
I am. Thank you. I have a question and then a little bit of history, I think. Does it make more sense? What's more effective for us to request an ordinance with some very specific requests in it? Or is it a more general letter asking for the corridor to be looked at, studied, reevaluated? Because in 2020, we have a memo that the county prepared in response to one of our letters. I don't know when it was sent, 2019, 2020, asking for the county to look at 72nd, 80th, 84th, 96th, and 104th. So they did some existing conditions and they put some recommendations in this memo. And I think many of those were implemented last year, but we're still seeing accidents. And so I guess my question goes back to what's more effective for us to ask for with the county. After talking with Letitia Neal, she said, the budget, the transportation improvement budget next year is absolutely constrained. And so if there's any low budget or smaller type things, actions that they could do to improve safety and visibility at each of those intersections, that might be something we could do. Unless, of course, you with your budget in front of you found some little extra budget dust to address Vickery Avenue. So
It's amazing how you can make metal signs out of budget dust.
I know.
Ask for what you want. I
Okay.
might come back and say, I know you said this, but I've got to do this study first, or I've got to do that first. But be clear in what you want, and we'll do our best to get there. And we might come back and say, you know what, we absolutely can't do that. But that's kind of how we got the bigger stop signs with the red posts and all that, because we had the signs taken down and they're like, well, there's not much we can do. I said, well, I know you can do this. And so I want that corridor done like that first and foremost. And
Yeah,
so
and
what I did is went out there, took from what you guys said you wanted,
Mhm.
asked for everything we can do, and then took it to the highest level then. Now we can take it to the next level. So just, I say just ask for what you want. And, we may not get there, but if you don't ask for what you want and you try to help us get through our systems, just,
yeah.
Chelsea and I will work the bureaucracies.
I think part of it is that we're not traffic engineers, so we don't know what to specifically ask for, other than we want it to be safer, we want better visibility, we want less accidents, and we want, more speed enforcement. And so it's like, if that means a study, if that means a sign, if that means rumble strips, whatever it is, then so be it.
We did on a little street the other side of 34th Ave, which was an arterial, but it just went for 2 segments. And so we de-emphasized it, de-arterialized it, and we're going to, drop the speed limit on it because it's not an arterial. So again, they came to me and said, we want to address these issues. And in that case, I had this option that I could put in that eventually can put speed bumps on there now that it's no longer an arterial. So, but it was unique. But so that's why I say, ask for what you want. And we're going to keep pushing because again, I do see signage and traffic engineering as, a successful solution. Not always. Ultimately, it comes down a lot of times to dumb people doing dumb stuff in cars that they don't know how to handle. And we spend more time trying to get people stopping from doing stuff they shouldn't be doing, that we can't be behind their wheel. But if we can do the other part and create everything else as safe as we can, we will. Larry, and then Don.
Just a little information about why more people are using Vickery Road from, let's say, 48th. They're trying to get around the 4-way stop at 64th and Waller, especially when Waller Road Elementary is getting out of school. The cars just stack up in all 4, well, at least 3 out of the 4 directions. And so they're diving over to Vickery off of using 48th Street to get over to Vickery, and then they go south from there.
And again, if you want to address more than one corridor, make some comments on Waller, some comments on the various segments, particularly the north-souths. Again, we're happy to try. I don't want to say we're going to get everything, but set the goals, and we'll, it gives me a priority list that I can start chipping down and just trying to be creative with fixing.
All right. Don, you had a question?
Yeah. What is the position on emphasis patrols and how effective is it? I would think that it'd be a self-funding. I know deputies are understaffed like everyone, but we had a emphasis patrol about 3 months ago. And only on one occasion did I see a sheriff's car aside the road waiting for speeders. So can one do a request of public information on how many stops were made, how many citations were given, What do you know on the background of that?
They're supposed to be providing that back to me. I think that was at my request. I was following many of the incidents on Pioneer that I spoke of.
Got
They
it.
were doing all the way up and down Canyon, Pioneer, and one other corridor over a several week period. And so ideally we should have about 13, 14 people in our traffic unit, and we got like 4 or 5. And they spend a lot of their time at accident scenes, processing accident scenes, which is unfortunate. And what the sheriff will say is he sees that as a position that is like last filled. When they're down, he wants deputies that are responding to 911 calls more than he wants deputies parked alongside the road. I think that there's room to be innovative and work towards a little bit of both. How, when they're not, although they pretty much go from call to call to call. So there's not a lot of downtime for them to be sitting, but how can we surge them up at different times? Make sure that, have emphasis weeks or something like that. So I'm really going to be pushing the sheriff to, increase that funding, maintain those positions, them in the CLD positions. We really need to, and this can go deep into, hiring and making sure we're hiring, and retaining the officers and the deputies that we have. How do we become a sheriff's department that the people are proud of, and that the officers are proud of, and that they're not leaving, and that they're not, that it's the place where they want to come and where they want to stay. And so that's is both internal and an external conversation. But we've had, I think, a little bit above average loss of, every department's had a little bit of loss, and I think we've had more than most departments our sizes. And so it's part of through the budgeting process. I'm going to want to find out what's happening from a leadership perspective that we're having officers and deputies leaving. And so, that's up to the sheriff. He's independently elected. I don't have direct policy oversight over him, but definitely looking at through the budget, how can we work on that? So that was a long-winded way that kind of got off a little bit. Again, I believe in it. I think it would be great to have more emphasis patrols. It's just having the spare deputies to do it.
Yeah, thank you.
October the 18th might be a date that might have an effect on maintaining the Pierce County Sheriff's Deputy Corps.
Yeah, that could be a systematic issue across Pierce County deputies, across Central Pierce Fire, across a whole broad array of governmental and private industries. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Marty, do we have the option? I don't know who's responsible for the light. Maybe it's City of Tacoma, or not the light, but the speed camera that's right by the Puyallups Cemetery on River Road.
So
Can the county do something like that as, say, temporary in various areas?
No.
Okay.
The Bay Street Curves camera, it is one of only 2 speed cameras that are authorized in state law, and they are specifically there, and one in Seattle. There are some school zone ones while schools before and after school, but that specific one, because of the high number of fatalities, and that used to be part of my drive. I've seen a yellow sheet there 3 times. And I know that there's been more. Those are 3 that I came across while it was still there. And it was such a dangerous corner, and they couldn't put an officer in there to even enforce it. And that's why they were able. And so they actually had it as a pilot project. And for 6 years, City of Tacoma had to go down to the legislature and say, please renew it, please renew it. And because it came into my district, that city, I was the one going down asking them to renew it. And so that's why I understand it. It did significantly drop. there've been only 1 or 2 fatal accidents since it really got in there and got known. It kind of goes back to that thing. You got 10 cars coming down River Road, but you slow down the front guy, you slow down all 10. And it's helped, but we're a state that just does not, a very anti-speed camera state. And so might some of that change over the next coming year now that we see a lot more people speeding, a lot more street racing, a lot more lawlessness on our roadways? Might some of the more rural counties open up to it and, allow more camera systems? Then we may see some of that. By and large, people don't like them. I mean, we want them in the neighborhoods to catch the other people, but damn it, don't let that camera catch me. I know people who just absolutely avoid Fife because Fife has the red light cameras that they very liberally interpret. So,
Yes.
Angela.
Yeah, how are the red light cameras at Fife and Puyallup? How are those different from the one at Bay Street? And there's really no appetite within unincorporated Pierce County to have similar enforcement?
Yeah, so the one at Bay Street is a speed camera. So it's
Correct.
If you're speeding, the red light cameras are. So Tacoma's got 5 red light cameras. Fife's got, I think, 10. But and that specifically triggers if you go through the light after it turns red.
And Puyallup as well.
Yeah, Puyallup has some too. Yes.
Yeah, is there not really an appetite for red light enforcement at the county? For a county unincorporated county intersections, I guess is my specific question.
We haven't raised that question in a few years. I know that there wasn't before.
I'm not asking for them. I'm just saying. I'm just asking.
We really have to raise that question within the last year. I know Councilmember Kuhn, who I served with, he wanted to try to at one point ban municipalities from doing cameras within their own place. So he did not only want it in his, he wanted to take it out of the ones that existed.
Sure.
So that's some of what has been there before. So I'll raise the issue during the budget. I'm hit and miss on cameras. There's things I don't like about them, and there's utility that I see in them. So there's the invasion, the privacy, or not really invasion, privacy, but kind of the privacy, kind of the, an officer should pull you over. But if we're at a point where we're lacking officers and we have the technology and the technology is good, should we consider that? So I honestly, I'm not a huge camera fan, but I understand their utility. In front of school zones by where kids are. Yeah. You can make some really easy cases there. But you get to like Fife where, if you don't stop for a full 5 seconds and it's 4.5, they're going to get you that ticket. They like overdo it. And the trick is to use it more as a guidance and not a hammer. How can you, and in Tacoma, I was in some of that and they were put in before I got there, but I got them to, I think state law says 4 seconds and we have a standard of 5, it was really, you have to be egregiously doing, not just at the bare minimum. And, we put in things with red light cameras. When the companies buy them, they try to get you to dial down the yellow time from 4 seconds to 3.5 because they're 4 everywhere else. So if you're really going to implement them, then you got to standardize all your lights across the county, because you can't have half your lights at 5 seconds and the ones with cameras on them on your yellows. I mean, but how long it's yellow really determines on the speed on the road as it approaches. I mean, sorry, you just brought back all kinds of conversations I had around this and why we did what we did. And so I'll just leave you with, again, why I can kind of get both ways on it, because I've done so much research. And I'm just happy to bring it forward and see, as a discussion point. Don.
Yeah, example of that 3 second or 4 second rule. You go up Canyon, which I live on, and you go across the freeway and you attempt to do a left turn at McClendon's Hardware, and it don't matter which lane you're in, if you hit it on the yellow as you cross the first intersection, you're timed out with the red before you can complete that turn at speed.
Can you send me an email on that, which intersection it is, and I can have them double check the clock time on those yellows?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, because that is a safety issue. There's a reason they should all be a certain amount of time relevant to a certain speed, because you know, we need predictability. And if we think it's going to be X seconds and it's not, then it puts you in an unsafe position.
Right. Okay, got it.
Larry?
Yeah, I think that the 112th and Canyon intersection is such a big intersection, and there are quite a few big intersections. The yellow just has to be at least 4 to 5 seconds in order for you to get through that intersection if you're making a left-hand turn. Don's correct on that
Yeah,
issue.
that can be some of it is, you know, length of, you know, the speed of the intersection, the length, the traffic counts, all that goes into the calculus, but they still try to be consistent. Somewhere I can go find those traffic analysis grids and recommendations and standards, and we can just verify that they are at standard. So if there's any that you think need more standardization, I'm happy to go out and have them tested. Any other questions about anything else? I know more than traffic, I swear.
It doesn't appear to. I think we still need to get back to,
Oh yeah, I guess we're on we're on the letter, aren't we?
yes, we're on Angela's letter.
Okay, I have a question, but I'll email it
Okay,
because it doesn't pertain to Summit Waller.
okay.
So what would we like to do? Do we want to start with Angela's letter and, depending upon the reaction, also submit Larry's proposal? Do we want to submit both at the same time?
I think after the conversation we just have, I'd like to offer some additional edits along with Larry's and then send that back out for consideration for the board.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we should do 72nd, 80th, 84th,
Yeah.
96th, and 104th.
Okay.
Say those again, Larry. You said 72nd, 80th,
well-
84th, 96th, 104th.
I'm a little wavery on 80th. I think there's probably good sight lines both ways. I'm not sure there's been too many accidents at the 80th and
Yeah.
Vickery, but certainly 72nd, 84th, 96th, and 104th should be in the letter and in the proposed ordinance.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
can make those changes.
Yeah, I'm happy to take another shot at drafting some language to include those intersections and then kind of introducing some proposed ordinance language as well. So,
Larry, I would suggest for consistency that you include 80th.
80th?
Yeah, I would suggest that you include that also.
okay.
80th runs past Orange Gate, right?
No. Well, yeah, it does on the north side.
Right, right.
It's another cross street with a lot of traffic.
Yeah,
They can include it. They can decide it's not worthy as opposed to the others, but
right,
we can ask.
correct.
All right.
Okay, well, we'll table this till next month and anticipate seeing some more correspondence and email.
Can we thank Councilman Campbell for attending?
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
Happy to be here, although it sounds like dinner might be ready for me, so I'm going to go ahead and drop off here. But as always, feel free to reach out to me. I think you all know I'm pretty accessible, myself or Chelsea. And I hope she's been doing a good job in my stead when she comes here.
oh, yes.
Oh, wow,
Mhm.
she sure has. She's quite the spark plug.
I got lucky there.
Yeah, you did.
All right, you guys have a good one.
Good night.
Oh, Marty, real quick, how is Mark Williams doing?
Doing well. He's doing He's doing well. We had a chance. He just was a little under the weather the night of the in-district. He really wished he could have made it out there for that. But I know he would definitely want me to tell all of you hello on his behalf. And I will pass along that when I spoke to you guys that you all inquired about him.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're thinking about him and praying for his recovery.
Thank you. Appreciate that a lot. Have a good night.
Good night.
Right.
Okay, next item on the agenda, Mr. Goodspeed, adopt a road report.
Yeah, well, we had a good result. We had a lot of garbage. There was some bigger than usual haul because of there was a long gap, but we got it all. There was some people who did some double duty, Larry and Angela. If we hadn't had some extra duty, we would have missed the bottom half. So kudos to them for picking up more than their share. And so we got it all done. It worked out well. We don't have an abundance of volunteers, so and hopefully we'll get it done next time. Thanks to Jen as well, and she got her church involved. Got a few people, so couldn't have finished it up without that help. So anyway, it went off and we were successful.
Thank you.
Now, this happened before I managed to get Facebook to realize that, yes, I am who I am, claiming I am, so that, yes, you can't allow me to keep my, or to reopen my account. Were there any photos or write-ups on the Facebook page about this to promote it after the fact?
I totally intended, I had absolute intention of taking a picture of the pile of bags that were accumulated at the end of Saturday.
Mhm.
And then I didn't. So I was
think I
hoping.
have one. I think I have one on my phone.
Do we, John, when the county picks the trash up, do they weigh it to let us know how many pounds or tons of trash we've picked up, or do they just sweep it off and take it away?
No, they don't. I have to report how many bags and any unusual stuff like tires and different things. And
But they
another
don't
thing
weigh
that
it.
happens is once the bags go out, then we accumulated a sofa and no, they don't report back to me. They may weigh it. I don't know. I've
Okay.
never heard any reporting back.
Yeah, I would, because I had been thinking about, putting something on the Facebook group about here, it was successful. We had this many pounds or this many tons of trash that we cleaned up from our community. But I didn't know if the county weighed it for us or not. And I don't know that we can ask it because they probably put it in the one truck that they pick up Orange Gate trash in and all the other trash they see on the side of the road. So I don't know that they could really weigh it for us either. So
It did take them 2 loads. We had that much stuff. So whatever they use as a flatbed, or I don't know what kind of, I never see the truck that when they come get it, but
there was
yeah,
so
I
much
don't-
trash.
that-
Oh,
Hey, John.
How many loads is it normally, John?
Normally they get it all in one load.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Wow.
there was a number of big things, like, as I said, there was a sofa there and just some people in the neighborhood see that as an opportunity to avoid going to the dump. So the longer it's there, the more we get, so,
Hey, John.
yeah.
First of all, thank you for your work. Second of all, is it possible that you could send or email Angela a copy of that, the pictures you have of the garbage bags, so she could Facebook?
Yeah, I can sure do that. Yep.
If
yeah,
she-
I'd be happy to do that. Write a little summary of what we did and
It might help next time getting more people to help.
It might.
Yeah, that for sure on Facebook would be good to post at the very least.
mhm.
John, my wife and I got as far north as between 40th and 38th. And I think when we were driving down Waller Road to Pioneer, it looked like we still need to do a little bit of attention between 38th and then down the hill to Pioneer. I even suggested it to my good old buddy Daniel Hare, that maybe the two of us could go out and
I'm a slacker.
pick up some things. But of course, Dan does an awful lot of pro bono work for us, and that's understandable. Has anybody driven down Waller Road to Pioneer? Do we need to maybe on our own occasionally go down there and pick up a bag? And is there more litter to be picked up between 38th and Pioneer?
Mm,
I'd be
was-
happy to go.
Yeah, I was not able to make it any further north than you and Barb.
Yeah.
So
I'll drive
Okay.
down there on Thursday and I'll look on Thursday
Okay.
and see. But one place that really, really needs a lot of work is 72nd to 64th on Vickery. It's awful. And I keep wanting to get out there to do it, but that requires not only the time, but going and buying bags. And I don't know.
Sure.
I keep forgetting. I have my grocery list and it's not on my grocery list. I should just add it, but I don't know. And Saturday's been
Wasn't there-
busy for kids.
On
Wasn't there a
Vickery,
family
72nd and
that did an
64th?
adopt a road on Vickery north of 72nd? I thought there was a family that had adopted that section.
I don't think so, but I just know even if it's not part of Waller, it's just really, really bad.
Okay. I know at one time there was a family that had formerly adopted like 64th from Waller Road over to Vickery and then Vickery to 72nd.
Hmm.
But apparently
Well,
they may have dropped their participation.
I am free Saturday, probably from 2 o'clock till it gets dark. And if anyone wants to pick up garbage, I'll go out and pick up garbage with you, wherever you want.
Okay. When you drive down Waller Road to Pioneer on Thursday, I
Mhm.
think that should be our first priority before we go over to Vickery. And I would be willing to come over on Saturday after 2 o'clock and help out.
Okay, I'll check it out and I will text you or call you and let you know.
Hey, Bob, can
Yeah,
I dovetail a few comments into this real quick, please?
yeah.
Okay, I've sent you all an email tonight about Pioneer Way, the cleanup going on down there. As you know, there was a bunch of encampments along Pioneer Way. I met with the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Police, and it's being cleaned up. They're pretty much done with it, okay? In that particular encampment was on the railroad parcel. And all the other ones that were within the Clear Creek watershed owned by the Port of Tacoma, those have been cleaned up several years ago. So the remaining ones were on the railroad property. Those have been cleaned up. But there's still a single encampment left right across from the Clay Arts Center, just west of the tire shop, back in there. If you folks could call 311 at your convenience and mention that would be very much appreciated. In addition, along Pioneer Way, just south of River Road, it's really dirty along there again. If you folks,
It's awful. It's just awful.
I think a lot of those were broken bags that were dumped there. They got broken up and strung by the traffic of cars. But the encampments have been cleaned up. There's still one to go or two to go down by, like I told you, across from the Clay Arts Center. If you guys could call 311 and read the email, drive by, take a look at it, whatever you want to do, and just make the call. And that will help expedite that particular cleanup.
And on what day did they say the encampments had been cleaned up?
Well, first of all, I've been working on this for quite a while, and they had to give them notice, 30 days notice to be able to get out. They started, I wrote you the email saying it was going to happen. The next day it started to happen. They're still working on it. I would say they're probably,
Okay.
75% cleaned up. There's a lot of trash down there.
Right.
Dealing with the railroad, they're a private company. They don't have to be politically correct or that polite in getting people off the property. It is simple trespass. Whereas if you're dealing with a public sidewalk in the city of Tacoma, they're too bashful about having people move. When you're dealing with the railroad cops, if you will, you know how they were back in the old hobo days with the nightsticks. Well, it's not unsimilar now.
Okay. I was just curious because the last time I drove by, I still saw encampments and I was under the impression that they had disappeared.
Well, they don't disappear immediately. If you go down there tomorrow, you'll see that there's still one there, and I think it's on railroad property. If it's there a week from now, that means it's not on railroad property. But they're being abated. Yes,
Okay.
that's all I have to say on that.
Okay. So last thing under current business that was covered a little bit, our council evening meeting that was held at Harvard. Larry or Gabe, do either one of you have anything more to add to what was already discussed?
I just want to say it was actually really nice to be able to go and see that in person. And like you know, we were talking about earlier, they had a translator there. I'm not a Spanish speaker, but I do know enough to know how well she was translating. It was really nice to see that. And the highlights that they were giving for the local community schools and volunteers. And Larry was recognized in there too. It was really nice to see that happening. And I like to see more of those happening.
Yeah, I was there, and what a nice looking school, and very functional. It's a beautiful school. Obviously, the Spanish translation made the meeting go longer. You know, but that's fine. And I did speak to our background about the creation of the farm and how the Franklin Pierce School District embraced the idea of growing food for the lunch program, and then it's expanded beyond even that. So it was a nice meeting. Really enjoyed it.
And I'll add that I once taught at Harvard, the old Harvard, and it's changed an awful lot since I was there. Very, very large part of its population is Spanish speaking. And so it was nice to have the translator there to recognize that part of the community that frequently isn't included. All right, new business, membership renewals, and kind of returning back to the treasurer's report. So there are some questions about our renewals. I know, Gabe, you had some. Angela, did you also have some in email, or who else?
I actually had a good talk with Russell.
Okay.
Yeah, he actually and I spoke for a while about this. It was good. He gave me some information, sent me some numbers. We talked about different ways we can maybe improve the way we're tracking it, and how we can maybe make that a resource for us to be able to not spam the community, but to once a year, twice a year maximum, solicit them for renewal of their or maybe have them encourage them to invite their neighbors, and if they aren't involved either, and also to highlight some of the things like our Adopt a Road. Hey, here's what we did. Throw pictures in there. Maybe do it in a postcard format, something that we can use that to not just communicate, hey, give us money, but hey, here's what that money you have given us is doing.
Okay. And Russell, anything to add?
Just a few facts. On a typical year, we have anywhere from like 40 to 50, active renewals. Some people, skip a few years. Some people are very consistent. So far, this year, we've got 30 or 31. I'll have to go back and look. And we've got two new ones so far. So, not a lot of new members, signing up. And I can tell you that typically, like when we were having our annual meetings, that's when we got, a lot of the renewals. And then, the other, a large portion of them, come in December. So, before the end of the year. So, and then moving forward, what I'm going to do that's new is I'm going to start, tracking the date that I received them. And then when, if we get a new member, when their membership, started. I'm going to make that part of the spreadsheet, which is, that wasn't there before. I was just kind of following the template that the previous treasurers were using. So, and if anybody else has any ideas on the type of, what's the word, metrics, I guess, that I should be keeping track of, or any ideas there?
The only thing I have to add is that on the printout that was sent out, there were 29 paid memberships of various amounts
Mhm.
in 2021, and there were 208 people on the mailing list, on the list.
Right. Yeah. And we'll most likely get another 20 to 25, before the year's end. Like I said, a lot of them, come before the new year.
Okay.
Yeah, for me personally, without the annual meeting, I know I sent in a payment, but I don't know when.
Yeah.
So
And
I don't, and I know, like, for example, my dad is an intermittent supporter, like, and I bug him to, oh yeah, I'll just send it in, but he needs a piece of paper, so I need to print out a form and give him a form so he can mail him the check, because he
Right.
doesn't do email or social media. So I think it'd be helpful if people knew roughly when, or
yeah, I
had a
think
date.
yeah, I think that because we're not, having that meeting, it's not on people's minds. So, Gabe and I kind of talked about a few ways that we might be able to just get the word out for that. And it would be a good way to, because I have a lot of contacts that I haven't really vetted, that maybe they don't live there anymore. maybe they do. So an outreach, I think would be a great idea, just to verify that they're still there, and how are we doing? So, but yeah, if anybody has any ideas on any other information regarding the renewals that they want me to keep track of, just let me know.
The only other thing that we might consider, because it would have to tie me together with Russell's ability to deal with the bank account. We do have an email address that's used for the website admin that we could really tie into maybe a Facebook type of thing, where people, not Facebook, I'm trying to blank on the darn place, PayPal, where you can actually set up an annual subscription. It's like $20 every year, just automatically gets taken from there if you set it up that way. And it would just allow that to do it, and then Russell would get notified, hey, this came in, and that way we know people can regularly do it. And we're just looking at picking up new ones, and some people might go, oh, I didn't mean to pay that, but it's only $20, and I'll just cancel it there. And that's going to happen too. But of course, it does require both of us to work together on that, because obviously I'm not going to be touching the bank stuff, and he's not going to be touching the website.
And I recall that you'd brought that up before about having the online option on our website, and we could link to it from Facebook. Could you have that ready for us to approve by the next meeting?
It'll probably take a couple months on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we might as well go ahead and follow through on that.
At minimum, see if we can actually accomplish it with
Yeah.
that, going crazy. Yeah.
Maybe.
And yeah, I can't imagine trying to send out reminders for a large number of people when you don't have a regular renewal date. So I'm a treasurer for another organization, and our renewal date is January 1, which makes it a lot simpler for me. Okay.
Yeah, why, can I ask those that have been involved in the organization longer than I have? Why haven't we picked a specific date, like a calendar year or a budget year or a season for people to renew? Did we just rely on the annual meeting as kind of a date for people to sign up to renew their dues?
From my understanding, it was kind of a come as you are and I mean, renew, I mean, when you can, and I mean, when it's on your mind. And I mean, the meeting, the annual meeting, I mean, definitely was a huge reminder
Mhm.
for people. And I mean, now we're kind of living in a different world. And I mean, the other thing I was going to say too is, you know, I mean, thinking about the actual donation amount itself. I mean, is that, I mean, good where it is? Or, I mean, do you think that we would get, I mean, more donations if we dropped it a little bit? Or, I mean, should it be more?
Well,
Just kind of
everything's,
throwing that out there.
I think people are used to seeing fees go up because of inflation and post pandemic. But
Mhm.
I mean, does the organization need more money?
No,
Could-
I mean,
could
I
we
don't
use
think
it?
it's, yeah, I mean, that's not it at all. I was just, I mean,
Mhm.
bringing up the conversation that
Mhm.
I don't know that we've ever, I mean, actually talked about that
Mhm.
before. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I've never heard anybody say that $20 was too much. So,
Right, right.
so, you
I
know,
think
I'm
I
just
can
kind
add
of
some
throwing it out
clarity.
there.
I think I can add some clarity here.
Sure.
In our current bylaws, under Article 3, Section 1, it says the fiscal year for the association/corporation shall run from January 1 to December 31st.
Mhm.
Current annual membership fee will be $20 per family, residence or business, $15 for seniors age 62 and over, 62 plus. Now, I think going way back, because Angela asked about that, I think it was our annual,
Wait, Mom.
before that, it was, you renewed your membership right around the annual meeting, general membership meeting time. So it went from like June 1st to May 31st, I think,
Mhm.
was how it worked before.
Hmm.
But then
Yeah, I
people
mean,
were getting confused. Have I paid this year? Have I paid last year? You know,
Mhm.
and so there was confusion with that. So that's why we changed it to January 1 to December 31.
yeah, I mean, I think making that renewal, I mean, more accessible, I mean, digitally, would be, I mean, a huge feather in our caps because,
Yes.
you know, I mean, just bringing it, I mean, up to date, I mean, technology wise, and I mean, people are very, very busy. And I mean, sometimes you just forget to do that kind of stuff. And so, I mean, I'm definitely for that. Just to make it easier for people.
I totally agree. I mean,
I
I've had
agree as well.
another organization that was paper checks and,
Mhm.
you know, like, and now it uses QuickBooks and it sends people invoices and you can pay online just lickety split for a meeting or annual dues or a sponsorship or a donation or whatever. So I think if we made it more accessible with whatever tool is easiest for you, Russell, and for you, Gabe, to figure out, I think for people like me personally, that'd be slick. And I think it'd be way easier for people to go on, put in our credit card, pay it, be done with it. And we could put it on the website. We could have the link on the Facebook page. I mean, it could be easily
And
shared.
I just started the treasurer position for a networking group business I'm a member of, and we're looking at doing the Facebook subscription option as well. So this is kind of, I can do both because I'm researching it for one already anyways.
And that's something I was kind of curious about, was if there was some way that we could have, you know, anybody who wants to within our area could join the Facebook group, but if there was some sort of a premium sort of a group that you could set up, if that was possible. But
Yeah, that's an idea. That's for sure.
But I do like Jen's idea that she put in of, hey, you know, we have another raffle for the flowers again.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be more than willing to go back to the place that I was getting those from, and so I mean, whenever we want to do that,
Mhm.
if we decide to.
I'm real hopeful that the Mid-County Community Center will be open and we'll be able to have our annual membership meeting at the community center next May. I think that's,
Are they still
Doable.
closed?
yes, well, yes and no.
Because I see cars up there a lot.
Yeah, I think they do have their lunch. You know, you can come in and get lunch and leave. But I think they are open for some classes.
Hmm.
Okay, any other questions, comments about membership?
The other thing, I just wanted to bring up one other quick point that Gabriel and I were talking about, and that's so one thing we could do to raise awareness is, I mean, we could, put together like an email, contact list, and quarterly or once a year, you know, we could send out just a newsletter, you know, saying, hey, you know, this is what the renewal times are. Just whatever, information that we want to put in there that we think that they need to know. And once we build that database of emails, it wouldn't take much to do something like that. I think it'd be a lot more effective than sending out mail, because I don't know about you guys, but I get a lot of junk mail and sometimes it just goes in the trash. So, I think we miss, a lot of people that way. And if they move, we'll catch them there because they most likely still have the same email. So, they might be more apt to let us know, if or when they move, if we send that out. So just a thought there.
How many members do you have on this spreadsheet right now?
I'll have to go back and look. I don't have
Somebody
it.
had a
Yeah.
number that thrown out there,
208.
208.
Not all of them
well,
have email though.
what I was looking at just now quickly is that those with the Puyallup address, which if I use a liberal term, are on the east side of Canyon
Mhm.
as an arbitrary division line. There's only 24 out of that 200. Puyallup is not very represented geographically if you use Canyon as a reference. And is there any way that we could relook at that?
You kind of cut out there, Don. I'm not sure if that was my computer or if it was yours. If you could repeat the last few sentences of that there for me.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I did a count of those with a Puyallup address and
Right.
making a broad assumption that Canyon Road would be a divider between Puyallup to the east and Summit Waller to the west.
Mhm.
We've only got representation of less than 1 in 4 from the Puyallup side.
Right.
That's
Okay.
just a statistic that I was looking at.
Okay. Gotcha.
They are more densely populated there too. So
Hmm.
opportunity. Well, obviously, we're not trying to make this for profit, but if we could take some funds and actually apply it to the community in tangible ways.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess we'll move on to announcements, and they kind of tie in with the Pierce County Council meeting that we had last Thursday. So the farm on Thursdays has free fresh veggies from 5 to 7. Everyone's invited. Had an interesting mix at the county council meeting. I mean, you had some carrots, you had all kinds of different greens. They had beets. Oh shoot, I just had them dinner tonight. It's an onion family.
A leek?
Leeks, yes. Yeah, leeks. Yeah, it's a nice selection. So there's that Thursday nights. And then also, if you want to get your hands dirty and aren't doing it at home, they do have community farm days where people can go and help out with the farm. Fridays and Saturdays, 9 to noon, running through November. And it also entitles you again to take home a little bit of produce that they're producing there as well. So there's that opportunity. And anything else anybody wants to add for announcements?
Well, we
Yeah, you
haven't
could
talked
take home a
about,
really big bag.
yeah,
Yeah, you could.
we haven't discussed about how everybody's feeling about the eventual move towards in-person again. That was something we brought up and I was like, hey, just put it out there. What are people thinking? I'm not saying we have to bring it up now, but at some point it's a topic that needs to be brought up.
Okay.
Or if we're going to at all. Yeah.
Let me talk with Bunny and Don Brunson about what they're actually doing now. And I know that we could have an in-person meeting at the Mid-County Community Center. I'm just not sure what our responsibility would be as far as sanitizing before and afterwards. So I'd have to get some information on that first.
As an alternative, we might even hit up the Waller Road Grange.
Mhm.
They're under new leadership recently, so they're opening.
And
to come
I
in more.
believe they now have Wi-Fi.
Ooh,
Nice.
They just did. In fact, let me look on their Facebook post. They just were bragging about all their changes. They were so excited.
Oh, wow.
Hold
There
on
must have
just
been
one
some younger
second.
group take over because I thought they were on life support system.
They were, so it's about time.
Yeah, that the new leadership is actually really focused on trying to bring in younger generations in because those are ultimately who end up holding on to it in the future.
now they
And
might get a
everybody's
few more
aging out.
weddings in there.
Yeah, people are aging out of their membership is what's going on.
I will say that the Waller Road Grange for 2021, there are no dates available, and 2022 summer dates have already filled up.
Wow.
For the rental of the facility. I
Yeah.
just saw an email that came through my Facebook feed. That said they had done a bunch of updates, and I thought they said Wi-Fi, or they were doing some basically like audio visual
Mhm.
updates so people
Right.
could, show presentations and that sort of thing, which,
I saw that too.
and now I can't find it.
Yeah.
There's no way that they would provide us a meeting night for free. I'm almost certain of that.
They might be open to it. Who knows? It's another avenue for them to do it. And if not, what would the cost be?
Mhm.
At one point, I was trying to get a closer relationship with the Waller Road Grange because we're both in the Summit Waller area. And I even offered them a board position on our board,
Oh,
which
yeah.
Oh,
they turned down.
Oh,
Well, new leadership, maybe
Yeah.
different attitudes. Hopefully.
That's what I'm thinking.
well, don't forget that if you get into if we comes down to it and we can't have the mid community center and we can't have the Waller Road Grange, I still have the keys to the church. No one's taken them away from me yet. Until they do, I'll keep offering it up.
I found,
So are
so
you-
I was gonna say, I
Are you the
found the,
church lady?
What?
Are you the Dana Carvey church lady?
I don't know. Maybe. I really try to limit my activities. Like I try to do two things. One is the outreach, which I connect with Summit Waller, and the other is a kids program in the summer. And that's it. I try not to do anything else because you get sucked into these things really easily.
Yeah.
But so far it's enough to keep me in keys.
Angela?
I was gonna say, I found the post, and it said that this year has been a strong summer of renovation at the Grange Hall. It's been a year of reflection on what the Grange was, is, and what the future holds for the organization. As with many fraternal organizations, there has come a time when the older generation looks at the next generation, take up the call to continue with the traditions that they have put in place. In an effort to attract new members and opportunities to interact with the surrounding community, we have been updating the hall to include free Wi-Fi with plans of updating and installing audio and video equipment for use at the hall. They're also going to be hosting a holiday bazaar in November. And then they, of course, have a Facebook page, an email, and a phone number if you are interested in helping or want to volunteer. So just an FYI, I realized, yeah, you're probably right, Larry. They're not going to let us use it for free. However, it doesn't hurt to ask. They do have Wi-Fi. The thing, I think what a lot of organizations are trending towards is a hybrid model where you have some people that are in person and you have other people that can join remotely. And that, from my perspective, is harder. It's more coordination, but if you have the tools, it's easy. You just have to be set up for it. And I don't know if the Mid-County Community Center is really ready for that. Wallen Road Grange ready for that. We're ready for that. So if we do go back in person, do we still want to offer the option of something that's online, or do we just want to go back to the old way of meeting in person and taking notes on paper? So something to think about over the coming months, I guess.
I still take notes on paper while I'm on Zoom.
Well, I
Yeah, me
do
too.
too, but that's me.
Was that Pearl I heard or somebody else?
That was probably Naya, my dog.
Oh, okay.
I didn't catch what Gabriel said about Zoom.
Oh, I just say I take notes on paper while I'm on Zoom still. Even though it's digital, I'm still going to keep on doing it by paper.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody have anything else for the good of the order? Hey, you're all quiet and it's now 8:45. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion that we adjourn for the night.
I'll second.
Moved and second, we adjourn for the evening. All in favor?
All right.
Hi.
There's my hand. Okay, see you all next month.
Thanks,
All right.
Thanks,
guys.
everyone. Good to see everyone.
Okay.
See ya.
Good night.
All right.